All right, folks, I think we'll now call the open portion of the meeting to order. Good to see you all today. And we're going to begin, as we always do, with the recognition of the traditional territories. We gather today on the unceded territories of the Comox First Nation, the traditional keepers of this land. And we're working our way through the calls to action. Call to action 54, a National Council for Reconciliation. We call upon the Government of Canada to provide multi-year funding for the National Council for Reconciliation to ensure that it has financial, human, and technical resources required to conduct its work, including the endowment of a National Reconciliation Trust to advance the cause of reconciliation. And first item we have is adoption of minutes from July 30th. If I can get a motion for adoption. Okay, any questions at all on that? Okay, any opposed to accepting the minutes as printed? Seeing none, that carries unanimously. The Board of Variance minutes next from July 31st. Those have been moved and seconded. Any questions on that? Seeing none, call the question. Any opposed? And that carries unanimously. The next is the replacement of the Island Corridor Foundation representative, and I'm glad to see you here, Director Arbor, just to begin this whole thing by saying thank you for all of the work that you've put into this file as our representative and as co-chair of the ICF. It's been a, yeah. Hopefully you can hear some of the applause through the mic, but it's been greatly appreciated, your contribution there. And then we proceed on that. Second. Any questions on that? Okay, any opposed to receipt? All right, and there's a recommendation, and I'll pass it over to Director Grieve.
Yes, I would like to move that Director Cole Hamilton be appointed the Comox Valley Region representative for the ICF.
Second.
I should ask whether I'm willing to accept that nomination. The answer is that I am. Just wondering if there are any others. Okay, and I guess that passed. Okay, and I guess that passes by acclamation. Any opposed? Okay, well, thank you very much. I look forward to the challenge. Water restrictions dashboard for receipt, please. Moved and seconded. Thank you very much. Any questions on that? Or we're going to have a presentation by staff briefly. I see Mark.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. Yeah, Mark Rutten, our General Manager of Engineering Services, has come to the table and can introduce this water restrictions dashboard to the board. Mark.
Great, thank you, James. Through the CEO and through the chair. I don't really have a presentation. I just thought I would introduce the item, just keep it short. So we're presenting this here to the board because there was no water committee meeting this month. We did present this yesterday to the EASC. As you can see, many of their water systems are included here, but the focus of today is the Comox Valley water system for the rest of the board members that are also on the water committee. You can see that in August, the lake level has dropped a little bit from 134.9 to 134. The flow into the lake has dropped just with the warmer, drier weather. And the flow out of the lake has also dropped. That's something that BC Hydro controls. So they've dropped the flow to 13.8. That required us to move to stage 2 water restrictions. And then in terms of the system, you can see that the total consumption has increased a little bit in August. Our peak day in August is 51,920. That compares very closely to last year's peak day. And the peaking factor at 2.75. And sorry, I forgot to mention that the island now, the east coast of Vancouver Island, is at drought level 4. So that's the data. Hopefully it's helpful. Like we said in the last meeting when Mike introduced this, we're just kind of trying to keep this thing up to date, this dashboard up to date, and it is it does change often. So we're trying to bring you the sort of latest information that's available right prior to the water committee meeting. And I'm happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Looks like you covered that off pretty well. I don't see any questions at all at this point. So I believe this is just for receipt. And I believe we have a motion. Do we have a motion, receipt motion on the table? We do, okay. So any opposed to receipt? And that carries unanimously. Next, some business from the Electoral Area Service Committee yesterday. It's a recommendation for the Cascadian Wood Tech lot. This is a vote of areas A, B, and C. If someone wants to move the recommendation. Moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments on the recommendation? Okay, any opposed? And that passes. The next is a recommendation for bylaw 833, Comox Valley zoning bylaw number 520. And to start with, there is a piece of correspondence that arrived just today. And so we'll just take a motion for receipt on that. Moved and seconded, and that's areas A, B, and C. Any opposed to receipt? And that passes unanimously. And then we will go to first and second reading. First and seconded, and A, B, and C. This is all up to you. So anyone opposed? Okay, and then we have third reading. First and second, third. Great. And any questions on that? Anyone opposed to third reading? Okay, and then we have some items for final adoption. The Black Creek Community Center Contribution Service Establishment Bylaw number 47, amendment number 3 for final adoption. And that is a vote of all. Any questions on that? Any opposed? That carries. Another recommendation. This is the Delegation of Authority Bylaw number 108, amendment number 2 for final adoption. Moved and seconded. Any questions, comments? Anyone opposed? And that carries unanimously. And then we have a late item, and we just need a motion. Thank you. A movement to be first and seconded on allowing the addendum. Any opposed? The addendum is now added. And this is the Age-Friendly Communities Grant Program. This is submitted by Director Grieve. And would you like to speak to that, Director Grieve? Oh, sorry. First, we'll get a motion for receipt. Thank you very much. And go ahead, Director Grieve.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I apologize for the late request, but the timeline being what it is and the project stream having to have this submitted by, I think, the 26th of August. So this is our last meeting before that date. I'm looking over some of the grant funding according to the website for the province, and it's one of those things where, you know, planning, you can get up to 25K for planning, but only 15K for an actual project, which is pretty well indicative of government. But we have I did receive some correspondence from the Merville Community Association asking that we partner with them on this grant funding application. And as you probably know, like a lot of our grant funding applications, they flow through the regional district. So we do need some staff time to help develop it in order to hold the money when it comes, and to report out afterwards too. So it's not a big ask. So, but I do ask the board to at least do the necessary in allowing Merville Hall to prepare the grant application and provide them with the necessary application reporting requirements. Thank you.
All right, thanks. We'll just maybe dispense with the receipt motion. Any opposed to receipt? And there is a requested action. Moved and seconded. And I just want to say thank you, Director Grieve, for bringing this forward. This reading through, I was impressed by the efficiency of the project that was proposed. They're getting a lot of money and a lot of mileage out of each dollar they're needing, and it's a well-loved community institution. So thank you for bringing this forward. Go ahead.
I might mention full disclosure that I was a member of the MCA, but I'm on sabbatical. I have been for I think 14 years now.
That's a decent sized sabbatical. That sounds good. All right, so we have a requested action on the table. Any further comments on that? Any opposed to the requested action? Okay, and that carries. Thanks very much for bringing that forward, Director Grieve. And